The button is pushed. We are live on a Saturday. Probably haven't done a Saturday morning show since the postseason last year.
That's right. That's right. Probably we have not. I did not even go to bed. I stayed up all night. Not a wrestler is in the chat, and I mean, since you saw me last, I got knee surgery. I recently, not knee, leg. I recently argued with not a wrestler at about 4 a.m. on Twitter. So not much has changed.
No, and last night, Willie woke up after the semis because he finally slept a little bit. And I said, why don't you go to sleep, watch the semis in the morning, then we'll go live. Willie said, yep, excuse me, that's what I'm going to do. So then I text Willie at like 5, 6 a.m. Hey, you want to do a show? He said, yep. I said, did you go to sleep? He said, nope. So Willie just did wrestling all night.
Well, I felt the stuff wearing off. Like at first, when I say stuff, I mean the sedative or whatever. Because I caught a little bit of the early stuff at Big 12's and the quarters, and then I kind of dozed off. I was trying to struggling to keep my eyes open, and then I fell asleep for a while. Woke up and I was gone. I was out of it, but I was trying to keep my eyes open, and I'm like typing and researching, and bro, I was like an idiot. Like everything I typed.
We were talking
wrong.
during that. We were talking at like 4:35, and Willie was talking to me about what happened in the quarters, and his eyes were closed.
Were they? Yeah, I was beat, and so I woke back up. I woke up and I'm like, I'm gonna start doing some of this. Who's qualified? Who needs? Because he could already start doing a little bit of it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, one eye open, typing the stuff in, a misprint every 5 seconds, and it was just bad. But then it started wearing off, and I'm starting to get a little rhythm going. And then I banged the whole thing out. I did the whole thing.
And I pinned it. I just pinned it in the chat. If you're watching this live right now on YouTube, it's pinned in the chat. We'll get to it. The real-time qualifiers up to the minute. Who's going to NCAAs? Who's already? There's people we know are going to have to get an at-large. Based on yesterday, one of the biggest examples is Christian Carroll. Went a surprising 1-2 at Big 12's. 2 big upsets. He shouldn't have lost either match. He's now going to need an at-large. And because... 6 of the top 10 are Big Ten? Like, he's not going to have a problem getting an at-large, but he's going to need one.
Yeah, it's just weird. Christian Carroll. It's not like, it's not like one of those situations where a guy's a 6th-year senior, or he was a little banged up, or he is a one-hit. I mean, Christian Carroll's been really solid this year. Really solid. Just had an off weekend.
Yeah, and that's why I said, he lost to an unranked guy in the first round, and then he beats number 30 in the country in the first round of Concies, and then loses to Juan Mora the very next round. I think it was 6'3", 6'4", who's ranked 21st in the country. Very weird performance for Christian Carroll.
Yeah, I admittedly, I kind of pull for Christian Carroll. He's had a bumpy road getting to where he is, and I was happy that he's having a solid year. And so I'm hoping he rebounds. I hope he gets he'll get a wild card. That's no doubt.
Yeah.
Hopefully he has a decent NCAAs.
Yeah. So where do you want to start? Do you want to?
I think we start with, why don't we just do Big 12s, do everything Big 12, then anything notable from other conferences, and then just quickly go over the article that I just put, or the set I just put up, where it's like, surprising guys that need.
By the way,
what the situation.
Agreed with one caveat. We should start with one nugget that we said it on the show, and you were right. I feel like I'm saying that a lot this season. you were right about what seeds were going to change. And I feel like a lot of people were surprised there wasn't more Big Ten seed changes. And pretty much all the ones we said were going to happen were a few less actually happened. Like I think Dean Peterson didn't move. A couple of them didn't move. But for the most part, Willie told you which ones. Everybody was doing their own math, like out of 100 points, and that's just wrong. We were talking about that.
I was told that I was told this. I was told they got in the Big Ten meeting. Tom Brand said, Dean Peterson, he's within 15 points. He's ranked 7th in the country. He's way too low, and the only reason he's too low is because he's one match short of having an RPI. I'm paraphrasing, of course. I'm not saying that this is what Tom said verbatim. What Tom got up and said, I challenge this, and I think Dean Peterson has a case to be higher, and he's within 15 points. And Bono stood up and said, well, here's the thing. We dueled you at your place, and Nikolai Rivera, we sent out Nikolai Rivera, and Dean didn't come out. So what can we do? And then they said, let's have a vote. And they voted on it, and it stayed. They voted against it. That's what I was told.
I wish we were there. Like I'm telling you, the numbies on streaming that event would have been awesome. Like to be a fly on the wall there. So not many seeds changed. Basically the obvious ones that we told you about, and I tweeted out. They're everywhere. They're on my Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Updated brackets. They're everywhere at this point. If you haven't had them yet, Braden Davis is his path is crazy. Braden Davis might have the toughest slate for a Big Ten. He's got Dario Lemus first round. Then he has the 3-2-1. If he were to win those matches, Von Bauer, then Brock Hardy, then Jesse Mendez. What a crazy path.
Somebody in the chat just said 165 is that in that article. I am putting it up as we speak. There it goes. Sorry about that error. What are we talking about? Braden Davis?
Yeah, just his path. That would be like face the 3, the 2, the 1 in the quarter semis finals. If you were to win those matches, obviously. So I'm not going to backtrack and go over everything we said in the seeding show about. No, go watch that from Thursday if you want the seed talk.
We talked about AI and formulas and getting it right and having the right inputs, and in conjunction with human, a sprinkling of human touch on the top when it's done, and making some, getting it right, the process, right? But here's why, at the end of the day, here's why I didn't rage about it. Because there's two ways to look at it. You look at it analytically, you look at it subjectively or objectively. And they chose the formula, and the formula, it had some egregious outliers like Levi behind Minto, okay? But name another egregious outlier. The really bad ones were Levi behind Minto. Totally stupid, right? Blaze behind Caliendo. Totally stupid. Okay? But really, if you just go ahead and switch them, frankly, Blaze and Caliendo are the 2-3, so don't matter much anyway, guys. What I'm saying is, if you agree to do it one way, then suck it up and accept the results. That's what you guys agreed to. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, go back and watch Thursday's show. We did a whole show on the seeds, the pre-seeds, and all that. So we did all that. Go back and watch Thursday's show. Let's talk Big Tens. yesterday, Big Ten's kicked off and the Cowboys balled out.
Big 12. You're racist again.
What?
You're being racist again.
Why?
I don't know. Anytime you get a name wrong, you're racist somehow.
Oh yeah, they don't like when you say. Some fans don't like when you say Okie State instead of Oklahoma State.
But we're talking Big 12s. Heck of a round yesterday.
Yeah, Oklahoma State puts 9 in the semis, all but Zach Ryder, and then who looks like he got beat by Isaac Dean. It looks like his shoulder caused, I think, like 3 stoppages yesterday. But Cowboys put 9 in the semis, go 8 for 9 in the semis. They have 8 in the finals tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Plus. It's kind of crazy. Like, Oklahoma State they're way out in front. I think they got like 154.5 points or something. Zach Ryder did win his first consi, or first 2. Basically secured 8th, and he's medical forfeiting out. But the Cowboys will qualify all 10 for NCAAs.
Yeah, it's great. On one hand, people say, well, they were supposed to do that. What did you expect? Yeah. You would expect them. Yeah, sure. But it's another thing to expect and to get the job done. And you can't, you got to praise when they get the job done, because that's what it's about. It's not about having the potential to do it. They got it done. They got qualified all 10.
Yeah, it's always, especially when you have a lot of guys like Oklahoma State, where there was a lot of 7th, 8th guys in the country, and you're on that AA bubble, and you can easily drop in the rankings with one bad loss. And I think they all but 2 guys, they were favored in all but 2 guys. I want to say lost, because Ryder was upset by Dean. No, maybe just Ryder, because Merrill was the 3, Novak the 2. So Ryder was the only one who lost a match he wasn't supposed to by seeds.
Yeah, and you can say they held serve, but they didn't do anything they're supposed to do. They're supposed to do that. It's easier said than done. This is college wrestling. It's why we watch, and a lot of matches are one exchange matches, and they pass the test every time. 125, Troy Spratley into the finals, beating Mac Mauger and Conrad Hendrickson, who beat Brady Rourke, the 4 seed. Down at the bottom, 6 seed, and it was a bad day to be a 3 seed at Big 12s. Only 4 of the 10 3 seeds made the semis.
Isn't that crazy? And I think like 4 or 5 6 seeds in the lower weights all made it.
That's what I'm saying, right? So less than half of the 3 seeds came out of that side. Now, one was Zerbin, who got banged up, but still 5 of 9 is not great when it's a 3-6. Just an odd quirk. The first one was Jet Strickenberger, who lost to Ezekiel Witt, and then Witt lost to Poulin. Strickenberger's still alive on the backside. He's wrestling in the Consi semis today. So Strickenberger will be fine. He's gonna qualify. As I say that though, he'll qualify, and even if he would forfeit, he'd still get a bid. But you don't want to see that though. That's the thing. You don't want to see that, because really, if like it's, I'd like to see him earn it on his own so that the bid opens up for somebody else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we had a couple of injuries here, or at least one injury. Trevor Anderson was banged up. And listen, guys, it was a rough day for Northern Iowa. I think as of now, they only got 3 through. And so they're going to have to have they have a tough time getting 6. Nick Fox went down. Trevor Anderson went down. Jared Simmons still alive. Max Brady, but yeah, it was their heavyweight who came in. Actually, I don't think you really expected much out of him, but he's ranked 33rd. Anyway, tough tournament for Northern Iowa. I love those guys.
But shout out Doug Schwab rocking that Keep CBU Wrestling shirt before each round.
Yeah. So that was the story at 125. Just a quick look at who's in. Spratley's in. Poulin's in. Number 27, Trevor Anderson is going to need. So if you're looking at the article I put up, there's a column. It lists the guys that already qualified. So Spratley and Poulin qualified because they're in the finals. Big 12 takes 5. And that's why nobody else is in there yet, because you got to take top 5. If you didn't take top 5 yet, you're not in. So it all goes by how many you allocated. If you're out of the tournament and you're a notable guy, we already know that you're going to need a wild card. And in the column that says allocated, next to certain guys that are on the bubble, I have yes or no. Yes, you allocated. No, you don't. Christian Carroll will have a yes. Trevor Anderson, no. And I'm telling you right now, it is really, really difficult. It is almost not like if you didn't allocate, if you did not earn an allocation and you did not qualify, you ain't getting a wild card. Odds are slim. So I don't like saying that, but I don't like that for Trevor Anderson. I don't like that for Matt Mulger. I don't like that. Well, he did qualify, but what I'm saying is you can get a sort of better picture. And why I nerd out on it is because I like to know who qualifies ahead of time. That's why this is what I'm doing all day. This is like my project.
This is where you nerd out.
Yeah, this is like how I follow the tournament, So basically that article is like kind of how I look at the tournament, how I look at conference weekend. 133. Dom Serrano goes down. He was another 3 seed. He lost to Gage Walker. And then on the backside, he injury defaulted to Carter Schmidt of OU. Jax Forrest over Julian Farber.
We got to get Jax those. We got to get Jax those Wrestle Like a Freshman shirts. I tweeted it yesterday. Yeah. Like, I don't know how anybody isn't a fan of Jax Forrest. Like, Jax Forrest is not only such a likable kid, but like that semi against Farber, he got a takedown called within 9 seconds. He was in on a shot within 3 seconds. Like, here's a Big 12 semifinal, and just literally 3 seconds in, he's taking a shot. Like, and I mean, Jax yesterday 15-0, 19-4, 21-6. The dude just wrestles, and the dude just scores points. Him and Larkin should be a fun final tonight.
Yeah, real fun.
You updating your article over there?
No, I'm typing in the chat because somebody asked how many wild cards are per weight, and it says that in the article. It says it,
Yeah, the link is at the top of the chat. So if you want to follow along, again, it's like $10 a month or something like that to subscribe to Willie. Just subscribe, get all this content, 30 days a month.
So yeah, Dom Serrano loses. He's going to need a wild card. He will get it. But again, for every stud that doesn't get a wild card, a guy on the bubble, it makes their life in limbo. So I kind of like to see. I like to see like a Dom Serrano.
That's a crazy stat by. That's a crazy stat by Not a Wrestler in the chat. Jax has beaten 3 Iowa State 133-pounders, and none of them are Evan Frost.
That's funny.
He's got 3 wins over Cyclones, 2 official, 1 unattached. crazy, and none of them are Frost. Which, by the way, I guess we can talk about that for a second. Dresser announces the day before they put their preview out, they put their things out, and it's Garrett Grice in the probables, Evan Frost out. Dresser kind of clarified after, like, he had the flu and then was dealing with a shoulder injury for 2-3 weeks, and it sounds like between both of those, maintaining his weight was a problem, and he just couldn't get down to the weight. It doesn't sound like it was just a quote-unquote missed weight or missed weight cut. It sounds like it was going to be iffy going into it with him battling back from the flu and a shoulder injury, and it was just his body's not ready. I don't even know if he couldn't get to the weight, but
to me, listen, you're going to say what you're going to say. I would have a hard time being convinced that it's not totally weight related. He is enormous. If you recall last year, the year to the day, he had a disastrous Big 12 tournament, and they said he was sick then. Well, yeah, that's what happens when it's February and March and you've been cutting weight hard as hell for 5 months. You get sick. You get worn down. You get beat up. And so, directly or indirectly, I think I think it's a big weight thing, and I really hope he's a big, his twin wrestles 2 weights above and does just fine. And I think he could too. I wouldn't be surprised if next year, I see people already say, oh, next year he'll go 41 and Etchemendy will go 49. I don't know. I honestly think their best lineup is him and Jacob up.
Yeah.
And Etchemendy is still at 41. But I mean that's way down the road. I feel for Evan Frost, and I hope he
Grice did though. Like
yeah, that's a great story. How about Garrett Grice getting the late nod, and right off the bat you have to face a phenom, top seed, but then you punch a ticket.
Yeah, I mean, he lost 15-0 to Jax. It was a first period tech by Forrest. But then he goes out, he wins 5-2, 11-2, 17-8, and wins 3 straight Conci matches to send himself to NCAA's. Awesome story there. And then he's got Farber in the Conci semis today. Yeah,
but really good story by and with that situation. And not that it's really germane to this topic and conference weekend and breaking down the Big 12 bracket, but over the past 8 hours, the number of people that have said to me, bro, I've seen enough. I'm picking Jax at NCAAs. He's just amazing. I just think the more people see of him, the more people are convinced that he's going to win it. And I don't know if he's going to win it. We saw him against Seidel. It was a close match, and
I don't know. Listen, I'm on the Jax Forrest hype train. I think the kid absolutely can win it. But it is funny when you look at yesterday. And again, I just said how fun he is to watch wrestle. The kid gets after it. But then if you actually look at who he's wrestling, and you look at okay, so you had a guy who doesn't wrestle this year, a backup. Then you had a guy who's, I don't even know if he's seeded top 30. And then he beats a guy who's 20-something. And it's okay, so those 3 matches, the same thing Jax has done all year. It's surprising that a day like yesterday is I've seen enough now.
I get what you're saying, and I that's my line, right? I say that all the time to you. Who was he wrestling? That being said, can you name another guy? Maybe Mesenbrink. Can you name another guy that puts himself in positions to score more than Jax does? So when it gets really nip and tuck, when it gets really down to the wire, when time's running out, and One or two things are going to happen. Like he's going to have an 8-point lead, or it's going to be close, and he's going to find a way because he has so much offense and he's not scared to use it. The incredible dynamic to me is that we got these two true freshmen who I think if you took a poll of the country who's going to win 133, I think Jax Forrest and Marcus Blaze would be the two highest vote getters. And they're both true freshmen, and they couldn't be more polar opposite.
Yeah, 100%.
One is a high flying, whirling dervish. Don't tell your kids to wrestle like that. And the other one is stay at home. You ain't gonna break me. You ain't gonna open me up. I'm not getting out of position no matter what you do. And they both have incredible amounts of success. And they're both true freshmen, and they both would lead the voting in who's going to win this year. It's incredible.
Yeah, and it is one of those things too where, again, like I understand the rationale for Jax winning it all this year. I'm simply saying after beating two unranked guys and number 20 in the country, that doesn't sway me anymore. I've said all year I think Jax is a contender since the minute he showed up at Oklahoma State. And we've been, having the Jax Forrest discourse since November when you said, guys, him to Stillwater is a very real thing. Him in the postseason is a very real thing. And it's because he's a legit contender. And it is funny, too, because it's like you have Jax kind of with the 133-pound spotlight yesterday, and now today, Bird, Blaze, Davino, you'll see those guys. So it's like...
And another thing, too, about winning it all and winning it this year, I mean, you can have a pick. These guys are all so good. Here's the brass tacks of it is sometimes the best guy doesn't win. I mean, they could wrestle that tournament and Jax stumbles somewhere and takes third and Marcus Blaze wins it, and Marcus Blaze won that tournament. Doesn't really necessarily mean that Jax wasn't the best guy in the bracket. So, I don't know who the better guy is. I don't know who the better guy is.
Hopefully we see between Big Tens and NCAAs, hopefully we see every combination of the match. Hopefully we see them all.
Well, we're not going to see Jax against Blaze, that's for sure. I mean, this weekend. We're not going to have a preview for it, right? Like it's going to be...
no, right.
First
I'm saying between this weekend and NCAAs, I just hope we see every combination versus like the fans are going to be painstakingly annoying if let's say Jax wins and Blaze takes third, or Blaze wins and Jax takes third, and they don't see each other. If you have a situation like that, like I just hope we see every matchup.
Yeah, and another, if that doesn't happen, if they don't hit somewhere along the line, and one wins one and the other loses on their side of the bracket, it's going to be highly annoying. It could potentially be more annoying than just this year, because Blaze might redshirt next year. Jax might move weights. Blaze might move weights. I mean, we might not see it for a while,
Right.
But here's another thing that's really, really weird. A different dynamic is I don't know what Jax's seed's going to be. I mean, he might not have 15 matches. So I don't know. He's going to be undefeated. He's going to have some quality wins.
He's going to have – so he's 12-0 on the year, 13-0 if you include the Ortega unattached match. So he's 12-0 on the year.
Well, don't include that because it don't count.
That's what I'm saying. But some people are going to say, well, he's 13-0. He's 13-0 with Ortega. He's 12-0.
Yeah, Ortega don't count.
Correct, because it was unattached. It was a non-college match. Doesn't count. So he's going to be 13-0 after the finals, or 12-1, call it, if somehow he loses. So you're going to have 13 matches heading to NCAAs.
Right. He's not going to. And the reason that's important number one, having 13 matches means you didn't have a whole heck of a lot of opportunity for quality wins because you just didn't wrestle that much. The second and maybe bigger portion of it is you're not allowed. You don't have an RPI, and now, if RPI is a factor in the seeding.
Do you think that? I have a hunch that part of the reason why he never ended up going to get more matches is if you are an undefeated conference champ, will that make up for it? Because they give a lot of weight to conference champions. So I feel like
they should. They really should.
And so I feel like maybe they kind of caught wind of, you know what, we're confident Jax is going to be a conference champion. And if he's a conference champion, that will make up for the lack of an RPI. That will make up for a lack of 15 matches, you know?
Yeah. And you know what I hate? And it seems like I am in the minority on this. But what I hate is when a super uber awesome dude with a giant history of being excellent goes to Big Tens and he's hurt and he like forfeits out and takes 8th and he's still the 3 seed. Now you won't see that anymore because they changed it, but you used to you used to see somebody go there, game the system, and then still get a super high seed. And on one hand, people would say, well, let's be honest, he's the best. And people like me on the other side would say, he's the best when he's 100%. Don't you have to earn that top seed? He did not earn that top seed by forfeiting out of the tournament. And sometimes like a Darian Caldwell or a CP Schlater, or Dustin Schlater, I'm sorry, they would go to the NCAAs, they'd get a wild card or they'd get a high seed or what have you, and they'd go and they might as well not been there because they weren't healthy and it wasn't gonna happen. And it was a waste of a spot and it was a waste of a high seed. And then there's other things like Jason Nolf and Carter Starachi. That in that 2-week time period, they healed up and they were good enough to win it. But now,
by the way, even at formula, that, even
now at, this formula, I don't care if a 2-time NCAA champ is the 7 seed because he forfeited out, the 9 seed because he forfeited out. I don't care. That's your predicament. I'm not seeding you because historically you're really good. I'm seeding you on what the reality is right now. And if you're good enough to win it, go fucking win it. And if you're not, then you're too hurt and you're not that good right now.
It's something to keep an eye on with Angelo Ferrari and Brandon Cannon today. If they lose, do they medical forfeit out? You know, not knowing where these guys are, like you saw it with Zach Ryder, like his shoulder's clearly still.
Yeah. So let me bring this full circle because somebody puts this in here. Patrick M. Good point. Caleb Young went 1-2 at Big Tens and was the 6th seed at NCAAs. How? Exactly. He was the 6th seed because under the old formula, before they really rewarded conference placement, it was okay, your season made up for your end of the year blunders and what you were at that time. There was a point in time, and we're not fully out of it yet, but we're still kind of in it, where the conference tournament, they almost didn't matter. They almost didn't matter. It was almost like you can improve your seed, but you can't really hurt your seed. But hell, forfeit out. Hell, go 1-2. You'll still be a top 8 seed. Like, what are we doing? You already said that the regular season don't matter because, I don't know, you can sit and duck and do this, and we used to wrestle 40 bashes, but now we wrestle 12. And then we go to conferences, and oh, by the way, that doesn't matter either because our formula will just say you can go 1-2 at your conference tournament. You can still be a 6 seed. So what matters? What are we doing? If you're good enough to win the tournament, shut up and wrestle as a 12 seed. I don't know.
Yeah. So I think the system needs to definitely reward.
They started to. I wish they rewarded it even.
You got to you have to reward recency, and you have to reward the guys who show up. And I think they're taking steps in the right direction for that.
Okay, we got off of that. Big old tangent. 141. Vega still has not been taken down. He's in the finals. He beat Michael Olson, Jordan Titus, and Julian Tag in a good one.
Tag match was a good match.
Good match. Baschamania comes from the other side. He'll have Vega in the finals. That was a really fun match in the duel, won by Vega close and late. Anything crazy here allocation-wise? Not really. They take 7. They take 7 at 141. So this one's really simple. Everybody that hit the podium is going, except Hayden Drury or Pearson Manville. Whoever loses that match does not go. They're at the mercy of getting a wild card. So that's a pretty simple one. 149. 149. Not a deep weight in the big 12s. In fact, at 149, they only allocated 5. And one of those 5, Josh Edmond, is already out. So he's going to need a wild card. Swiderski in the finals against Rachi. Rachi, again, for the 3rd straight weight. A number 6, taken out of number 3. And then Rachi took out the 2 in Jacob Frost.
And now the 2, 3, 4 are all in Conci semis.
Yeah. So, another big one. So Rachi beating David Evans was big. David Evans, he still needs to win one. So everybody in Concis still needs to win at least one. That's why if you look at my article, the only 2 that I have in there, well, the only 2 that have locked it up is Swiderski and Rachi. If you lose in this Conci semi, you have to. No. Yeah, if you lose in this Conci,
you have to win the 5th place.
You have to win the 5th place bout. So major implications here at 149. 157, Larkin goes tech, and 9-8 decision in a great bout over Ty Waters.
Awesome match between those 2.
Awesome bout. Down below, Vinny Zerbin got dinged up. He got a win over Deshaun Poe and then forfeited to Cale Swenson. Fell to the backside and forfeited there as well. Landon Robideau beats Teague Travis. And then Swenson by major. Great final on tap for tonight. Larkin and Robideau. Again, Robideau only with 1 loss on the year. That was to Antrell Taylor. And so big seeding implications here as well.
Yeah, and for Vinny Zerbin, like it looked like he got concussed kind of, but it wasn't. He got hit pretty good to the point where they stopped the match, and then he kept going. But then after that, he just decided, like, something happened after that match where they're like, yeah, you're not going. So now will he allocate, or is he going to need an at-large? Zerbin needs an at-large, right?
Zerbin needs an at-large, but he's ranked 7th in the country. He checks every box. He's going to get it.
Yeah, he'll get one.
He'll get it. 100%.
Robideau Larkin's going to be a fun one tonight.
Somebody's asking about will Josh Edmond get one? And, at 149, there's only 4 at-larges in the country. Edmond ranked 20th coming in. He was the what seed here?
Edmond was the 5.
Edmond was the 5 seed. He's ranked 20th in the country. Let's see who else. It's way early. A lot of it depends on who else needs one. The Number 22, Caden Cassidy from the MAC needs one. Number 25, Noah Tolentino from Oregon State needs one. So Josh is probably ahead of those two guys. He's gonna be on the fence. He's gonna be on the fence. My knee jerk reaction was no, but looking at this, he might. I think he has a fairly decent shot. If you're a Josh Edmond fan, what you have to hope for today is that, and tomorrow, is Big Tens and ACCs goes a lot of chalk at 49. If that happens, Josh has a good shot. 165. Ladarian Lockett, major, and then a regular decision over Marcus Espinosa Owens, and then a major over Connor Houghton. Nico Ruiz.
The longest match in collegiate wrestling history, allegedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Don't know. You don't count that.
Well, Flo put out the graphic that the Lockett Connor match was the longest match ever because there wasn't just concussion time and blood time. There was also a tornado warning. They let him finish the
classic.
They let them
classic
finish
Oklahoma tornado.
They let them finish the second period, and then everybody had to go to like safe areas in the arena. That had to be the first time ever I had seen a weather delay. Absolutely crazy for wrestling to be in a weather delay.
Yeah. What's the situation here? Allocation wise, I think we'll be all right here. I don't think there's anything really to worry about. Downey, Downey again, 20-4 on the year coming in. One of those losses was to Lockett with about 2 seconds to go, and the other one was here again. 10 seconds ago, he gets taken down by Nico, but he should be fine. He'll 100% qualify. 174.
By the way, real quick about Ruiz. You hear Ruiz in the finals. You hear both Larkins in the finals. Arizona State having a pretty good tournament, all things considered.
Yeah. They've had a bunch of problems. They got half their team poached, and they're always going to have a couple dudes. 174. Facundo makes the finals, beating MJ Gatan 7-3. Cam Steed beats Carter Schubert 4-3 in a tight one. Also, Schubert was in a tight one, 3-1 overtime with Conley. That was sort of crazy. And then Steed takes him out. The story on the backside was Riley Davis, who was unranked coming in. What did he do? I guess, was it Riley Davis? Oh, Hudson Rogers beat Jared Sima, and then Riley Davis beat Hudson Rogers. So Sima's out, and Sima needs a wild card. And I wouldn't have predicted that. I'm actually a Riley Davis fan. I liked him in high school. If you don't know who Riley Davis is, this is a kid that he's from Texas. He played another sport. I don't know if it was jiu-jitsu or football or what it was, but he never went to any national stuff. And I watched him. I loved it. I'm like, this is a guy. This guy could work. This guy could work out. I remember when their assistant landed him, he messaged me. He was like, "Got him, Willie. Because I told him about him." He hasn't lit the world on fire, but he's solid. That being said, he came in unranked, and he's in, and Jared Sima's out.
Yep.
This is the same Jared Sima that did he not have Shane Griffith dead to rights 1 year at NCAAs? He had him dead to rights. Shane came back from the depths of destruction. It was. I'm pretty sure it was Sima. Shane was buried. It was 5-1 with 17 minutes of riding time, and Shane somehow in 1 period to go, and Shane came back. Anyway, yeah. That's it for 174, 184. Interesting here. There's one story a lot of people aren't talking about. I've never seen it before happen in my life. So first things first, Sinclair makes the finals of the top side, beating guys he should beat: Shea Addison, and Aiden Breno, and Ian Bush. Ian Bush beating Nick Fox. Bottom half, Nietenbach beats Soldano. Soldano did not look good.
No, he did not.
And then a match, a low-key great match that I told you early in the week to keep an eye on. Isaac Dean beats Zack Ryder. And look at the bracket right now and see what it says. It says injury default, 315. But they wrestled that match.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Yeah. So in one of the weirdest things I've ever seen, Zack Ryder uses all his injury time, and then he uses some more, and he's way over injury time, and they left him wrestle. That's it. It's done. The match is over. You can't. That's why it's injury time. That's why there's a 5-minute clock. If you hit the 5-minute clock, it's over. It's like when you say 1, 2, 10, you're out. When it hits 5 minutes, you're done. These dudes let him wrestle. And then retroactively said, oh, yeah, by the way, I know he won, but he actually won.
Is that what happened? I didn't even catch that.
That's exactly what happened. They wrestled the match, and then they said, you know what? We kind of screwed that up. He wasn't supposed to wrestle. Mark that down as a default. 2 points for Iowa State.
That's crazy. And Ryder, I think David Taylor said, like, Zach separated his shoulder like 3 or 4 times yesterday. Like, his shoulder is unwell. I hope he can maybe get some cold spray or something before NCAAs, but it's not looking good. He needs some time off the mat to heal up.
Yeah, and some people are like, why would David say what his injury is? Like,
you guys, can't see it?
People know what the injury is. What are you? Don't be silly.
The biggest group of people in this sport that I do not understand, and those groups, there's a number of them, but the hide
we're about to get into it.
But the injury group, like I got into a spat, I won't say with who, because they later apologized, but I one time put out a graphic that somebody was injured and they were out for the season with what the injury was that they were out for the season with, and they were not happy with me. And I'm like, guys, what are we doing? He's missing the next year. And it's like,
hey, we're trying to play this close to the vest.
Yeah, it's like,
oh, really?
Yeah, it's crazy. I understand wrestling is a combat sport. I understand, like, I get it, but at the same time, like, especially with Zach, like, you see the injury.
Yeah. It was clear what that was back at the duel, where it happened against you and I. All right, 97. There's some goofy stuff to talk about here too, and I said I tweeted it. I'm going to do a full segment on it because you guys are nuts. Rocky Elam over Colton Hawks and Devin Wasley, and then DJ Parker. There was some little shenanigans there. People were mad at Rocky for I don't know what. Like,
you should not be mad at Rocky whatsoever for the ending of that match. I watched it multiple times. What happened, I'll tell you exactly what happened. Towards the very end of the match, Parker, maybe Rocky was in on a shot. I can't remember that part. Parker was like pushing Rocky's head down, and he was like aggressively pushing his hands in Rocky's face, like in his eyes, and like busted open his eye. And then Parker was like very weirdly blowing a kiss to Rocky. And it's like, what are you doing, dude? And Rocky was pissed.
And well, other people posted pics kind of like Parker was doing it. Parker did it several times in the match. Like poked his eyes, put his thumb in his eyes, right? So that's why, I mean, You know what they say in like football and basketball, when guys get into stuff, they always they always blame the second guy that shows up, right? And that's what it seemed like here. Is like, oh yeah, you're booing Rocky. That's because you didn't see what happened before that.
Right.
Um, okay, so down below, also Parker beat Bennett Berge. Um, I don't know. Berge now, not that the Parker loss is a big one, but he didn't even quite look competitive in that match with Parker, and he was coming off a loss to Wasley before that. So, Berge, it does not seem to be the best version of Bennett Berge right now.
But by the way, we also all year have been talking about people who have not given up a takedown. I didn't realize that yesterday that the Parker takedown was the first takedown Rocky Elam's given up all year. That's crazy. All these we've talked about, like some of the Oklahoma State and Penn State and Joey Blaze and some of the more obvious ones. It just completely did not dawn on me that Rocky Elam had not given a takedown all year until he literally gave up one, and the announcers said this is the first takedown Rocky's given up all year. It's crazy.
Okay, so down below, Cody Merrill beats Cale Benny. Cody Merrill beats Carson Tompkins by tech. Another Texas boy. And then Novak beats Merrill. And to me, it's like I told you before, like the last 2 weeks coming in, that was one of the matchups I really wanted to look. I was really looking forward to. And to me, Novak won it kind of. I don't want to say no doubt. I mean, it was overtime, but like, I just thought it was a straight up win. And people are complaining about a headgear grab, guys. It's not a headgear grab. You're allowed to touch somebody's head. You're allowed to touch somebody's head. Just because you're pulling the head and your hand is on the headgear does not make it a headgear grab. Number one. Number two, stop being such a puss that you're hoping for technicality points and ghost points. I hate when people, their hands hit for a split second. I like, don't be such a loser douchebag that you want a match decided on some frivolous technicality that's highly dubious. And I praise the refs, because if you wanted to insert yourself in a match, you really could have. But it wasn't egregious. It didn't change a thing. It didn't give him an advantage. It didn't put Merrill at a disadvantage. It didn't result in a score. It didn't prevent Merrill from scoring. Let the wrestlers decide the wrestling and keep out of it. And another prong of it is that I see these. I don't know if this is a good thing for wrestling or a bad thing. The last couple weeks, and I'll be honest with you. I'm always honest, and I'll preface it with the fact that I love Okie State. I thought about moving there. I continue to think about moving there because I love the town. I love the people. I love the fan base. I love the history of the wrestling program. I love their commitment to wrestling. I love that there's a fraternity there of wrestling people. I love it. I can't speak highly of it enough. But with David reinvigorating that fan base, there are a bunch of noobs that are intolerable. They started watching wrestling 2 weeks ago, and they want to tell everybody what's what and what the rules are and this and that. They want to the Gabe Arnold thing was reaction time. Ever hear of it? Oh, did you ever hear of reaction time? No, never heard of it, pal. They're idiots. So I don't know if it's a good thing that there's these new wrestling fans suddenly super engaged, or a bad thing in that they're talking out of their ass. Listen, you're a new fan. Watch more, learn more, talk less. How about don't talk for like a year or two?
No, disagree. Disavow. I disavow new fandom hate from Willie. Here's the thing you got to keep in mind.
I didn't disavow new fans. I disavowed new fans that talk like they're Gary Abbott and been watching the freaking sport for 60 years.
Yeah, but take your eyes off wrestling. We see that every day in major sports like the NFL, the NBA, the MLB. New fans come in and they run their mouth and they yap like they've been watching it for decades. That's part of sports.
Okay, that's fine. It doesn't mean that they're not douche-tastic.
I'm not commentating.
I am not saying, hey, you're a new fan talking out your ass. I don't want you around this sport. I'm not saying that. I'm saying, come in, soak it up, live it up, love it. You're wrong and you're talking out your ass.
Disavow. Let them talk out of their ass. Let them. They're fans. It creates more conversation. It creates more commentary. It creates more attention. Let them.
That's another great point that these noobs brought up. Oh my God!
Willie's disdain for newer.
A bunch of people tried to validate it by saying, "Oh, I don't know what I'm talking about. David Taylor was calling for it." No shit. You mean to tell me David Taylor, the coach of a wrestler, was trying to get his guy to win? No. Do you know how much shit I hear over 20 years in the corner from coaches on a call totally talking out of their ass? They know they're not accurate. They're working the refs. Do not tell me you're trying to say that if a coach is calling for it, that it has to be true. Please don't tell me that's what you're saying. Please don't tell me that's what you're saying. Because if we let that happen, there'd be wrong calls every 5 minutes. You're telling me, the coach said it, so it must be true. Mark Branch said it wasn't. So which is it? Don't be an idiot.
I'll give you that one, and it is funny that just because a wrestling coach will use any ounce of anything they can, as they should, to fight for their guy. It's why you see YOLO. Just because a coach throws a YOLO brick does not mean it was the right call or the right challenge. A YOLO brick is literally called a YOLO brick for that reason.
All right, so Elam, Novak, finals. Great group here. Bergie, Merrill. Hawks came out of nowhere, bro. Listen, Hawks lost first round to Elam. He was having a disastrous year. Like, what the hell happened to Colton Hawks type of year? Now, I'm not saying he beat killers this tournament, but last week he beat Justin Rademacher. Okay? He was like 4-6 on the year when that happened. Then he loses to Rocky Elam first round. He wrestles back. He beats a ranked Rune Lawrence who did allocate. He beats Tompkins, and now he's getting Parker. I might be talking too much about it.
Great Consi semis right here.
Yeah. 285. Nothing to talk about here, really. Bastida beat Zuba, who beat Mora. Doucette beat Rasmussen, who beat Shiloh Jones by DQ, who Thomas Gilman done. And that was because Shiloh Jones upset Christian Carroll, who, we started off at the top of the show. Christian Carroll, horrible tournament, lost to two unranked guys. Two guys he definitely should beat.
One was unranked, one was ranked 30th, I think.
Frankly, you don't really think of these guys in the same galaxy of him. But it's one weekend. Let's hope Christian Carroll gets back on the saddle, and
he definitely should allocate. So maybe he was just sick this week or something. You never know, but he'll definitely allocate.
So that was the Big 12s. We want to go around the horn a little bit.
I'll tell you what's funny around the horn. I don't know if this is new for this year or not. It's just a real quick side. Did you see that the PIAA is going to end the state finals on Bassett Harer?
Yeah.
Dude, Feels like that's very unlike a state tournament to change the weight order.
I'll tell you what they should do. They should figure out what the heck to do with their schedule. They were wrestling till like 11 o'clock, and they had like skin checks at 7 this morning.
6:30. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, so by the time they get back to their hotel room, check their weight, get their weight down. I mean, they might not have slept.
Yeah, crazy. So those finals start at 4 p.m. today. By the way, the Keegan Bassett, because we're talking PA, the Keegan Bassett semi was wild. And I don't understand anybody saying that wasn't 2 for Keegan with that near fall. That was as clear as 2 near fall. I think that officiating was spot on, I thought.
Well, listen, I don't know. I thought it was definitely 2. That being said, I thought it was close. I mean, there's a rule. I saw people saying, I saw a couple guys saying, that wasn't just 2, that was 4. No, it wasn't. Listen, you cannot, there's a rule. You cannot be this high off the mat and be counted for near fall. You have to be, I forget the rule, I'm sorry. Yeah. But that kid was like this high. There's a rule, and so it was close, but to me it was 2. The right call was made.
Yeah, I agree. So Bassett's in the finals together. Bo Bassett, Brant Harer, 336 combined win streak. Both 2-time Pennsylvania State champs. Only one will end their career with the win streak and a 3-time 3 titles. So that'll be good. That's this afternoon.
Everybody asking, Willie, can Harer go with Bo? And you know, the thing is, and this is why, hey, to each their own. If they think that that's the best path for them, if they think the best situation and conditions is to just wrestle once, so be it. You're the coach. You're the parent. God bless you. I don't think poorly. I don't think bad on you. I just don't think it was the right move, and it's for this reason. You need to feel Bo. If there's one guy that you have to wrestle, and feeling him in high school, and feeling him out, and getting a rep in would be beneficial, it would be Bo Bassett, because you cannot replicate what he does.
Yeah.
And so unless they tried to replicate it in a college room at Rutgers, and that's why they thought, you know what? We're going to go to Rutgers to their club practices, and we're going to replicate the pressure Bo puts on you. But I think in my mind, Harer would have been better served. I don't care if he lost by technical fall 20-5 against Bo round 1. I think it would have behooved him to feel him. Long story short, for Brant to go with Bo, you first have to stop the hand fight. I mean, not stop the hand fight. You got to keep the pace with him, because he's relentless. Snap, elbows, heavy collar tie, heavy hands. And if you can go with that, if you can manage that, you checked off a box. That's the first thing you got to check off. Because if you can't do that, you ain't doing nothing.
Hawkeye Source. Hawkeye Source with a $49.99 super chat. I just turned on super chats on YouTube live streams, and the Hawkeye Source is the first super chat. Thank you, Hawkeye Source. All right,
Hawkeye Source. After you drop 50 on us, Hawkeye Source, what's your anticipation / expectation for the Hawks this weekend? And while you're writing your response, I'll go through a couple other conferences. I'll go through all the conferences that happened yesterday and tell you what a little bit of the situation is. 125.
Well, how about just as a real quick side before you do that, I just want to talk maybe one of the biggest upsets outside of the Big 12. Matty Bianchi going down to unranked Anthony Berg of Cal Poly. And Bianchi was ranked 5th in the country. I feel like this is gonna knock his seed down.
And I think had like one loss.
Yeah, he only had one loss this year. I'm drawing a blank who it was. Let me look.
D, was it not D?
Yeah, I think so. Let me look.
Yeah, so that's a big one. But
yeah,
there again, that's why I said at the top of the show, there is, Oklahoma State did what they're supposed to do. Listen, wrestling's tough. You can get into a situation. Bianchi gave up a big play and couldn't rebound from it, and you hit speed bumps. Who's the better wrestler? Matty Bianchi is a better wrestler than Berg, okay? But sometimes the better wrestler doesn't always win. Therefore, when you put 8 in the finals, when you qualify all 10, don't say, yeah, but that's what they're supposed to do. Give them a hat tip
100%.
for getting the job done. Okay, EIWA, Sheldon Seymour, Andrew Binney both qualified. Now, part of the pain in the ass of figuring all this stuff out, who's in, who's out, is some conferences have a true second. Some do not. EIWA does not. Ivies do not. They do not have a true second. So if you make the finals, you're in. So Sheldon Seymour's in. Andrew Binney is in. Andrew Binney beat Desmond Pleasant from Drexel, who did qualify. So Pleasant needs a wild card. Coda Holman, Pac-12 brought 2. They earned 2. Coda Holman and Maximo Renteria both in. 133.
Hold on. Shout out Shane Wiggins. 199 super chat. Shane Wiggins. Thank you, Shane Wiggins. Willie's going to have some butt heavy money today.
I'll tell you what. It turns out shattering your ankle and being laid up for a week really helps you lay off the butt heavies. So I guess there's a silver lining there. EIWAs, again, brought 2. Both finalists. Max Lee is in. Ethan Bergink is in. They didn't have anybody else allocate, but there are some solid guys on the bubble. Solid guys that are going to be looking for and for wild cards. And it didn't rear its head yet, but it's going to rear its head today. There are a bunch of guys that allocated. So you won't see it in this article, actually, because it didn't happen yet. So I can't officially put it in. But there's like several weights at the EIWAs where 2 guys that allocated have to wrestle each other in this round of wrestlebacks. So one of them is certain. EIWA is going to need a gang of wild cards. Markel Baker and Will Betancourt both made it. They allocated 4, so we have to wait till the wrestlebacks to see if they pull through. Gabe Wisenhunt won Pac-12, so he is in. Stanich and Ricciardi in the finals of EIWAs. They are in. EIWAs has 2 more bids at that weight. We have to wait till wrestlebacks. Nash Singleton won Pac-12s. He's in. Mac. EIWA is 149. They only allocated 1 guy. So the champ goes. It's crazy in such a big conference that they only had 1 guy allocate. It's kind of absurd. It's kind of craptastic, honestly. Mac, Caleb Tyus, Lucas Capusta from Lockhaven, both in. Caden Cassidy forfeited all the way out. He did allocate. He's ranked 22 in the country. He needs a wild card. Pac-12, the 2 finalists get it. Brock Herman, Andre Gonzalez. Andre Gonzalez beat Noah Tolentino, who did allocate. So Tolentino needs. He's ranked 25th. He did allocate. He's going to be a solid candidate for a wild card. We'll see what happens there. I can't believe Andre Gonzalez, he won Fargo like back-to-back years. He goes to Ohio State, and like his recruiting, like to me, I was like, man, I don't know. He's coming out of high school. I don't know if he's really going to be big enough to wrestle 125. This dude's made the NCAAs at 149. 157, Logan Rosinski, Giannis Charles, both in. Jonathan Lay needs a wild card. He's ranked 32 and did allocate. Mac has 2 in. Derek Rake and Garrett McChesney, who did not allocate. Pac-12 champ Javon Jones of Little Rock is in. 165, Brignola and Mulvaney out of the EIWA. Those are the finalists there. Nothing yet from the MAC, although one guy needs a wild card for sure. SoCon, same thing. Nothing set in stone, but Tommy Snipes, who was ranked 27th and did allocate, needs a wild card. Pac-12 only bringing their champ, and that was Matty Olgin of Oregon State. Number 5 in the country, Matty Bianchi, lost to Anthony Berg. And, it's going to be – I'm going to tell you what's going to happen, guys. It's going to be a really weird situation, and people are not going to be happy. But – Anthony Berg beat Matty Bianchi at the conference tournament. Matty Bianchi is getting the wild card, and Anthony Berg is going to be home. It's a tough pill to swallow, isn't it? But that's what's going to happen. EIWA is
you're definitely going to have some new fans complain about that one. I don't understand why.
Yeah,
hopefully.
Miles Tackett in the EIWA and Carter Bear in the EIWA made it. Danny Wask. Carter Bear beat Danny Wask. So big. That's a huge result. Danny Wask, returning All-American, is in limbo right now. Dashiell Lamer won Pac-12s. He's in. So good work out of Oregon State getting. They lost Tolentino, but they got Gabe Wisenhunt, who didn't allocate. They got him in. They got Nash Singleton in a bracket that only the champ goes. They got him in. Tolentino, they're going to have to hope for a wild card. Olgin, they got him in a spot where the number 5 guy in the country was Dashiell Lamer, where only the champion. So Oregon State really maximized what they could get. James Conway, Caleb Campos, both in from EIWA. They're in the finals. Sal Perrine, Malachi Duval are in from the MAC. I think they got 4 in there. There's 2 outstanding. Cesar Garza won Pac-12s. EIWA's Dylan Bechtold and Mikey Squires in the finals. They are both going to Cleveland. Pac-12, Stephen Little over Justin Rademacher. They're both going to Cleveland. Heavyweight at EIWA is a really good bracket where 4 allocated, and there's some depth even behind that. Brady Colbert. That's wrong. I have that in there wrong. Brady Colbert didn't make the finals, did he? I don't know. Nate Scon did, though. Let me see. I think I might have that in there wrong, fellas. Nathan Taylor. I do have that in there wrong. That's Nathan Taylor. The finals at EIWA heavyweight are Nathan Taylor and Nate Scon from Drexel. I have to fix that. My apologies. And then Brady Colbert and Spencer Lanozga are hoping to take 3rd and 4th to get in. Trevor Tinker won Pac-12s for the 2nd year in a row. He is in. And that is everybody that's in, everybody that's out up to the moment. Follow that article all day. I'll have it updated as soon as humanly possible so that you know who's in, who's out, who needs.
Yeah, and again, I'll put it in the description of the video. It's also at the top of the chat. It's pinned to the chat. And by the way, now that I turn on Super Chats, we're going to have to think about something fun to do for people who do Super Chats. I just never really thought about them, but that's cool. Big Ten's kickoff in 45 minutes. Brackets are out everywhere. Hawkeye Source with another Super Chat. Nobody is ready for Gabe Arnold's title run at 197 pounds.
Well, we
are pro Gabe Arnold podcast.
Yes, huge Gabe Arnold fans.
Who's Charlie saying?
He's
we are from New York.
He's saying you, under no circumstances, want Gabe Arnold to beat Josh Barr. That's what he's saying.
No. Josh Barr is my pick. Josh Barr is my pick at 97, but Gabe, 3rd. Give me Gabe 3rd at NCAAs. Nobody's rooting harder for Gabe Arnold to take 3rd at NCAAs than I am.
There you go.
All right, so that's today's show. We will be back tomorrow, hopefully. Maybe tomorrow morning. We'll recap everything that goes on today. We'll do a show around this time tomorrow morning, as long as Willie can get some sleep.
This has been fun. This has been fun.
Yep. And subscribe, because we may go live later today.
Gay Bar Nold. Russell Madness loves that.
Yeah, it reminds me of Hey Arnold. All right, that's the show.
All right, we got so much fun, and it starts at 45 minutes. Go Bills.
Let's go have some fun. Go Bills.